I'm now going to show you how to use 1 point to draw front view stairs. If you haven't yet watched the side view step video that I made, you may want to do that now. You might find that a little bit easier to understand, and then you can move on to this one. I'm going to start with a square or a rectangle, and I'm going to start by creating the illusion of depth. So what you see here is the back of the set of steps, and now I'm going to draw two orthogonals. These are lines that are going directly to the vanishing point, and then I finish that off with a horizontal. So now I know where the bottom of my steps are and the back of my steps are. Remember that these two areas would be areas that we wouldn't ordinarily see if we were ascending or climbing a set of steps. If you watched the side view steps video, you saw me start with something that looked like this. This equals these two lines in the front view. Now I'm going to take my red pen and I'm going to draw down to the corners. If you saw the side view video, you remember we started off like that. These lines are guidelines. They are not actually part of the steps, and so as we are drawing now in 1 point, we are only going to use horizontals, verticals, and orthogonals. No other diagonals will be used in this video, and no others should be used in drawing steps. Remember, these are guidelines. They are not actually part of the steps. They're telling us where the other horizontals and orthogonals go, as well as verticals. Now on the side view steps, we took our ruler and we divided this line into sections. On these front view steps, we're going to go to exactly the same line, but now the same line is back here, and we're going to make some evenly spaced marks on that back line. On our side view steps, we did not draw these orange lines that I'm about to draw here, but we did need this to tell us where to put the steps. Remember, the steps will always come out of that diagonal line. So the black horizontals here are steps. Now, since this is coming towards us, these horizontal steps on the side view will now become orthogonal. So I'm going to use the orange lines here to show you a line that should not be drawn. All right, so you would not be drawing in this line, but this line would, of course, be an orthogonal. These are orthogonal lines when we come out of that diagonal to create the step. Then we go to the second one up, and we have a step, the third one up, step, and the fourth one up, step. And if we have drawn these marks on the back vertical correctly, these steps would be placed also very accurately. So you wouldn't wind up with a large riser and then a small step, or a big step and a medium riser. Of course, climbing up a set of steps that looks like this would not only be uncomfortable but dangerous, which is why it's necessary to draw very, very accurately measured spacers like that, or like we did on this back wall. All right, so now we slide up our T-square and we make the same marks on the other side. And by making these same marks on the other side, we now know where our steps can go, and they will align. Once again, we go from the vanishing point, which again is right there where the horizon line goes through that vertical line. We would go out through that point, go out, and then eventually we would put in our step. So that would be step, step, step. I think I screwed that one up, so let me go back here. Okay. Step, and then of course the top step. Now I'm not being real accurate here. Obviously I'm drawing on an iPad, but this is close enough for you to see what you need to do. Now, the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of a little bit of this so as not to confuse you. And remember, these lines should not be able to be seen or drawn. All right, now we're now going to go from the front corner of our wedge and draw up. Then we're going to go back to the red line and go up, go back to that diagonal line and up, and back to our diagonal line and up. But now on this, it does look a little bit different because it's coming at us. So let's do that now. We start at the front corner, which is right here. We draw vertical, and that's called a riser. Risers rise up to meet the step. Okay, now we go back to the red diagonal guideline and we draw up to make a riser, up to make a riser, back to the diagonal and make the riser. So now we can take our eraser and we can get rid of any overhanging lines and our steps are done. The final part that we need to take care of now is to go to the other side and draw vertical, go back to our diagonal up, go back to our diagonal up, go back to our diagonal vertical line up once again. And once we're done doing that, we can shave off any excess line that we wouldn't need because steps don't have overhanging lines. Now the final part of this is to make them look like steps. Now I warn you at this point, because I haven't been using a T-square and a triangle, these steps are going to wind up looking a little bit wavy, but you'll get the idea. And then when you use your T-square and triangle, should look and align perfectly. We're going to go from where the riser and the step meet, right at that corner, right there, and we're going to draw a horizontal line across. And you can see that now we have actually created an area here, which is the riser. Now we go back to the back of the step and draw a cross, and now we have the step. And now we have the top of the next riser, and we have the next step. Then we have the next riser, then we have the next step, and then we have the next riser and the next step there. So if you can take a look here, you'll see I'm going to fill this in. You should not be filling this in at this point. I just want to make sure that you understand what we have drawn. This is the step area that I'm filling in here. This area that's all in black is the step. The area on the front is the riser. Now if you've done this all correctly, you should be able to see that the front corner of the step aligns with the front corner of the step, and the back lines up with the back. If you find that your lines, like I did here, that line doesn't hit that point, it must hit that point. You need to go back in and you need to make sure that it does hit that back point. If you find that some of these lines are wavy, like the one right here, that's wrong. You have done something wrong. You need to go back and you need to check to make sure that all of your orthogonals are orthogonal, your horizontals are horizontal, and your verticals are vertical. It's very, very important that when you do this, you do it exactly right so that when you're done, you have something that actually looks like a one-point set of stairs front view. Good luck.